Everybody, this is Brett Miller, High Country Harley-Davidson. This is Choppin Ain't Easy. Today we're going to take a look at my 2019 Road King Special. So this 2019 Road King started off life being modified in the way that many Road Kings were. 16-inch apes, loud exhaust, hot rodded motor, and away you go. This motor started off life as a stock 114 M8 motor. First thing I did was the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle 447, known as the torque cam. Put that in there. Later on, I did add larger pistons and cylinders to make this up to a 122 displacement. I've had bikes in the past with ape hangers on them, but most of them haven't had a ton of power. So these M8s can really run well. So that was when we kind of went the way of performance bagger. Started doing some modifications, put on shorter bags, lifted the suspension. The suspension currently is a little over 2.5 inches over in the front. We used Dyna tubes off of a Lowrider S. It does have Öhlins / Big Bear Performance cartridges that are designed for the 2-over application, and sent those out to California, and Kevin at Big Bear did those. I also sent him my Öhlins Screaming Eagle rear shocks, and he revalved those for me. Amazing difference that made. I still feel just as confident in the corners. However, on a straightaway, it rides a lot smoother, and it's just a way more enjoyable ride. Along with lifting up the front end, I did do a Brock's Performance rear swing arm, and it's their West Coast style, so it has different mounting points where I was able to raise the shocks up an additional 2 inches by moving it forward 2 spaces. I also added Brock's Performance, well, they're BST, but we bought them from Brock's, the carbon fiber wheels. That really upped the performance of this bike as well. The braking, the handling, the cornering, the acceleration. A lot of people don't think about that, but I've said this before, but any of the guys you see with the big horsepower numbers are dynoing these bikes with carbon fiber wheels, because you can accelerate a lot faster with a lower rotational mass. Along with the Harley-Davidson Screaming Eagle cams and larger displacement, we have the S&S air cleaner, fueling tappets, and a Trask Assault exhaust system. And as you can see, I like to tell people when they ask me about the ARP hardware, I just tell them it's everywhere, because it pretty much is. Also, the foot controls are all Thrashin. Those are the Apex boards that have been lifted, along with their brake arm and brake lever and the extensions for the back of the Apex boards. You can see the BST carbon fiber wheels, along with Arlen Ness carbon fiber front fender. All of the lighting on this motorcycle is done by Custom Dynamics. That is their Shark Demon 7-inch headlight, along with their marker lights and turn signals. I also have their lights in the rear as well. Road Kings generally have their speedometer on the dash. The performance involved in this particular motorcycle, I wanted to have it up on the handlebars. Jose at Guerilla Cables helped me develop a new wiring harness that allows this to happen. I didn't want to do the dual gauges off of a Road Glide like most people do. That top clamp is actually off of a Harley-Davidson Sportster, and that gauge is a P&A part that was intended for a Dyna. Every single thing works on there: gas gauge, cruise control, everything else. You can see the ABS light flashing right now because I'm not going anywhere. And the risers and bars are from Bung. The Shorty levers are from Lucky Speed Shop. You can also see the tops of the Big Bear Performance cartridges. I drilled out the nacelle and brought them through so that if adjustments need to be made, they certainly can be. That was not that easy to do. Took me 2 tries. That's actually my second nacelle, unfortunately. As we were looking on the other side at the Thrashin foot controls, using obviously the same floorboards on this side, but also using their short throw shifter arm along with their toe shifter. And I believe they refer to that back piece as their easy shift. It does help when you have the shorter shift arm to get it into gear. And also their shift linkage, which does make minor adjustments way easier than the Harley-Davidson one. The front crash bar is a Harley-Davidson unit. The rear one, Harley didn't make for this bike. So that is a Santoro unit, and I just remachined the little Harley-Davidson skateboard looking wheel ends and put those on there. I thought that kind of looked cool. Here in the rear end, you can see some of the shorter bags I was speaking of. I also got rid of the Fender mullet and custom dynamic LED brake light, tail light, blinker combo. And you can still see that we do have the BST carbon fiber wheel on there, and the Saddlemen San Diego custom seat. Really like that seat. I've got it on a couple different motorcycles that I own. Really enjoy that one. In an effort to get this bike to handle as well as it can, when I installed the Brock's Performance rear swing arm, I also installed some items from Alloy Art, including their frame stiffener that you can see there going from the starter over to the frame. What you really can't see very well is on the inside of the pivot shaft is their polyurethane bushings, and I also did their cush drive. The main one was this pipe. This is a Bassani, what do they call it? Superbike exhaust, but I have been waiting for the 49 state compliant one. They've been working on that sucker for quite a while, and I got one of the first ones out there. Now, when we talk about chopping ain't easy, this is a great example. I have changed so much crap on this bike that just putting this exhaust on was quite an undertaking. The first thing that we figured out is when we put the header on, the bracket was going to run into my aftermarket swing arm. The aftermarket swing arm from Brock's comes out a little wider, and I have this suspension picked up so far. I think even if I had a stock suspension on it, I don't think that thing would have ran into it, but I'm not sure. So we had to get on the lathe and make ourselves some spacers to go between the transmission and that bracket and move that outward. The second thing that happened was this rear pipe. I have this great frame stabilizer on here from Alloy Art. Well, that rear pipe was going to run right into that sucker. So we started looking around and we realized that the Harley-Davidson frame had two different holes in it. And those holes were about, I think, 1 5/8 inches apart from each other. So I took the Alloy Art bracket apart, the little arm that goes out there with the heim joints on it, and looked in on the inside, and it was drilled really, really deep, and it was threaded all the way to the bottom. So I put that in the lathe, took about 5/8 of an inch off of each side, and we're able to then shorten the heim joints a little bit. We were able to move that inboard. I still have that great frame stabilizer, and it made it past the pipe. The second thing we did to utilize this pipe as good as we could was we put in Harley-Davidson's wideband O2 sensors. These are a really, really good idea for anybody, well, pretty much anybody. Because what will happen is you go get your bike dyno tuned, and that day, under those conditions, it runs really well. It has a hard time adjusting, depending upon how much hot rod stuff you've done, to different elevation changes, weather changes, things like that, because Harley-Davidson uses narrow band O2 sensors, which really only go on and off. They tell it whether it's rich or lean. With the wideband O2 sensors, it gives way better information to your ECM. It does allow the Smart Tune to readjust things, and no matter where you're at, you should be running as good as you did the day they dynoed it. That's why we do that. But with the wideband O2 sensors and this particular pipe, it's stuck, that wideband O2 sensor is quite a bit longer than the little stock ones. It was gonna run into the oil line that drains the oil out from the back of this cylinder head. So we had to move that oil line to the left side of the bike about 1/2 inch. These are all sorts of things that we run into when we're doing this stuff. It's because nothing on this bike is stock. If you put this pipe on a stock touring bike, no sweat, you wouldn't have any problems. So that's why we call this stuff chopping ain't easy, because a lot of times you have to make stuff, you have to cut things down, you have to figure things out, you have to get different pieces all together, because what you thought was gonna fit that bike didn't. When you've got 5, 6 different companies all trying to occupy the same real estate on your bike, sometimes it doesn't work out that well. I know that I've gone through a lot of things on this particular motorcycle, and I have skipped a ton of them as well. So don't feel like you have to do everything all at once. You can do these things, you know, in stages and make the bike yours. So come see us at High Country Harley-Davidson. We'd love to help you make the bike you own or a brand new bike off the floor the bike of your dreams. We can do it a little at a time. We can do it all at once. However you want to do it, let's just get it in here and get modifying. Because just remember, trying to do all this stuff yourself, chopping ain't all that easy. We are the experts. We'll take care of it for you. Come see us here at Frederick at High Country Harley-Davidson. Thanks a lot. See you next time.